But all right. So whenever you're ready to get started. Oh,
I'm ready.
all
I don't
right.
know what kind of intro you want, but I'm ready.
All right. Well, we'll just say that we're back. It's been a while since we did a podcast, but I'm back here with Fami. Say hello.
Hello.
And she has a topic for cartoons today. What is it?
Today is Christmas slash holiday specials in cartoons because, as we know, in the 90s, everything started to go into multiple holiday specials.
Right. So just pick ones that you remember, or should we just go by like TV or even a show that would have their own Christmas special or something?
Start with a show that would have a Christmas special. If we really want to go way back, we can start with, like, Charlie Brown.
Oh, Charlie Brown. I'll just start there, I guess. Um, I think I enjoyed it more as a kid than I do now. I kind of look at it and just, oh, and I mean, it kind of foretold its own over commercialism because you can buy the little tree and plug it in at home now.
At the grocery store, like,
Yeah,
2 days ago, too. I was like, really?
yeah, I saw it a couple years ago. I'm like, well, that's it. It's over now.
It's like a Hallmark standard at this point. I don't think I've ever gone to a Hallmark store and not seen like a little section that was just dedicated to the Peanuts Christmas
The
special.
peanuts. Oh, I don't doubt that. I don't know, I remember as a kid I did enjoy seeing not just the Christmas ones, but any of the Charlie Brown specials. But yeah, Christmas. I mean, I don't know if it was a trend, but I just started seeing it with that one. Of course, it was like one of the first ones. It's like it's over commercialized. I'm like, this is back in the '60s that said that. Was it
And
'60s? I'm
then
trying to think what
it
year.
was it it might have been like the 70s. You know what? I'm gonna look it up because now I'm actually curious. Let's see, Charlie
Why don't you
Brown
look that up?
Christmas.
I'm trying to think of some of the older ones. The only other one I can think is maybe just as old as that is Rudolph, the red-nosed
It was
reindeer.
1965.
1965. Okay, I thought it was 60s. Like, well, I don't think it would. You've been 70s. I was going to think even older. Like, maybe it was 58. No, no, no.
No, it probably wouldn't have been colorized at that point. They probably would have kept it like black and
Oh,
white.
yeah. I can only imagine what the budget was for some of this stuff.
70s because like that kind of animation really got big around then, but 60s.
Yeah. He needs to go back and forth, get a big spurt of it, and then not so much. Another one.
Anyways, you said Rudolph. I actually missed this year's CBS because that's where I always see it on.
It's funny 'cause I
Freaking-
actually watched it with my mom this year, and because I had forgotten a lot of things. I remembered a few things, like I remembered Rudolph's girlfriend was Clarice, and I couldn't remember the elf's name that wanted to be a dentist, and it's just Hermie.
that's it. I was gonna say I want to say Herbert, but it's
No,
not Herbert.
Herbert. And then I cannot. I can't think of his name. Cornelius. First, I thought his name was Bumble, but that's what he called the abominable snowman. Bumble's bounce. And I'd forgotten so much. And probably the most thing I remember about that is the song "Silver and Gold." It's just an enjoyable part of it.
We have our own like Christmas radio at work, and I swear the entire Rudolph soundtrack is on there.
I'm trying to think what other songs there are, but yeah. And of course, watching it, I realize, I mean, it's what's in the song of Rudolph. It's like, man, reindeers are mean. It's just like, and he's one of the
I'm currently going
eight
around
reindeer.
where it's like
Was
deviation
he
from the
Blitzen's
norm.
son? I forget which. I mean, he was one of the main eight sons.
Everyone's like F off Rudolph, and he's like,
Yeah,
but I'm
pretty
just,
much. Like,
I'm
oh, we're
just a
crying
kid."
out loud, and just like what's wrong? Get away from! Like they're really freaking out, man. It's like, geez, you're talking reindeer that can fly. I think you can handle this.
And because we're on the topic of Rudolph, there's like a Rudolph New Year's special and a Rudolph 4th of July special, and those are both really, really odd.
Think, yeah. Well, I want to say Frosty's in it too. It's like Christmas in July. I want to say I don't know when those came out. I maybe saw them once or twice. That's really weird because like Frosty. I remember it was back in like middle school. Frosty got a sequel, and then the last 10 years it got a third one, and I remember the sequel
Dark
being like, this
Star.
is pretty awful. Thinking as a kid, it's not that great. I don't even know. It's about these old people who just hate Christmas because it's cold, so we'll make aerosol spray that will, get rid of snow. And I'm like, that already exists, but
That gets rid of snow, aka global warming.
Yeah,
we're going to cause global warming.
And it's like, yeah, we think that it should only snow once a year, and that's on Christmas. And I don't,
customers.
I do not understand I mean, I kind of watched it. It's like I do not understand what is going on, and this is somehow Frosty related. So, and that's the third one. I saw very little of it. It was like, I don't even know, some overachieving kid and their parents are just not that proud of them yet, and I don't know. I guess Frosty shows up. I didn't watch it.
All I know from that one is Frosty is voiced by the guy who voices Patrick Star from SpongeBob, and I couldn't watch it because that's all I heard.
I don't even know who plays him, but I know what you mean.
Because I was already in like middle school or high school when that came out, and I was like, what is this and why?
Wow. It's kind of, yeah, it's like,
I was around the point where they...
Well, it's like now where they kind of make Christmas specials that are like, we don't care, it's got Christmas in it, just make it, and people will watch it, and...
Like...
Yeah.
Like, I was either the late 2000s or the early 2010s, ABC Family started, like, doing sequels to old Rankin Bass.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was. Like, well, besides Frosty, what other ones, if there were other ones?
They did Year Without a Santa Claus, the sequel.
They made a sequel to that?
Focused on Heat Miser and Snow Miser, and it was god-awful.
That honestly sounds boring. I like their songs, but I don't think I want to watch them. What are they? What's the plot? They're just not happy with Christmas?
Barely even Christmas. It was something about, like, their siblings who were also, like, pieces of the weather, and one of them was a huge douchebag, and he wanted to, like, ruin Christmas weather, so, like, Heat Miser and Snow Miser saved Christmas, and I'm like, why? I like these characters, but what?
I don't know.
Their designs were overhauled, and I'm like, why?
It's like when they make sequels to any movie or something. It's like, yeah, let's not even focus on the stuff that was good. Let's just focus on a minor character and make a movie out of it. Like,
did you know that movie, the original Year Without a Santa Claus, has a live-action version?
I don't doubt that. It sounds like a Broadway thing they seem to do with some of these things.
This is just a really terrible, like, Hallmark version.
Okay.
And, like, at one... I watched it on a bad movie night, and at one point, they're like, we're going to the arcade. What's an arcade? Oh, you know, old man. It's where all the cool kids hang out. I'm like, oh my god, what the frick?
Nowadays, I'm like, do kids even know what arcades are?
Exactly. This was like 2004.
I mean,
arcades, like, didn't exist.
Oh, I love seeing those old stand-up things. Like, oh boy, and, yeah, people would put quarters in it. And like, what? They play a game.
The freaking kid was hanging out with Santa or, like, the elves or whomever, and, it was bad.
There's probably too many bad specials. But yeah, when you mentioned the topic, I was trying to think of some of the oldest ones I remember. And, well, there's more current one. At this point, it's probably 15 years old, but the oldest ones I can think of that I remember watching every year was Mickey's Christmas Carol and The Grinch.
Talking live action or
sorry, animated.
There we go.
I want to say most of the ones I watched were animated. There were shows that had their Christmas specials, but yeah. Mickey's was fun. Mostly because it centered around Scrooge, and I just loved DuckTales, and it was just fun to see Scrooge, do this part of the story, which unfortunately was also his name for the book.
Disney renditions of, like, Christmas specials always seem to be really good to me. Like, was the Disney Christmas Carol, and there was that other one from, like, it was either the late 80s or the 90s. It was like Once Upon a Christmas or something like that.
Twice Upon a Christmas. It was like around the turn of the century.
Twice is like CGI.
Yeah. I've only seen a couple parts of the Once Upon a Christmas with, like, Goofy and Max's story, and I think a little bit of Mickey's. I do not recall what else is in that special.
A little bit with Donald and Daisy in there, too.
I actually found myself enjoying Twice Upon a Christmas. It was CGI. I thought it was done well. It might also because Scrooge is in there, as I think about it.
Christmas is definitely still good. It's not as good as Once, but it's still, like, really charming.
It was like 5 or 6 stories, and they just kind of centered around Christmas. I actually didn't mind Pluto's story, which is where he meets with some of the reindeer. Of course, Mickey kind of came off as a douche in that one, but
Mickey pulls his like 80s dude going on there. He does that a lot in the old cartoons. He's like, "Whoa!
I mean,
you ate my carpet. Get out onto the street!" And it's like, "Oh my God, Mickey!"
Well, it's kind of like when Chip and Dale go and ruin like Donald's Christmas, or actually, no, it was also Mickey's. I'm thinking of there might have been one with Donald. I'm thinking of one with Goofy or Pluto and Mickey.
Was Donald's to do with like Daisy's ice skating thing? I can't remember.
Are you thinking about Twice Upon?
I'm pretty sure I'm thinking about Twice Upon.
Yeah, well, there's one with Daisy, Mickey, or I should say Minnie and Daisy have like an ice skating contest. And I guess what was kind of fun about that is you had Fantasia little cameos with the hippos and the crocodiles. I believe.
Not to older Disney.
I believe so. The other one, there's like 2 stories with Donald. One's about him, he just wants to stay home and drink his hot chocolate, but everyone wants to go out and do stuff, and that kind of ruins his day. And then to a point, like, well, I understand Donald doesn't want to go out right now. He's enjoying himself, and no, go have Christmas spirit.
Tough part, as you get older, you start siding with like the grumps in some of these, because like you can see why they want to just stay home, drink their cocoa in front of the fire and relax because it's cold out.
He was having just and then they're like, oh, we're gonna go to the mall, and that's exactly what they do. And he keeps trying to get hot cocoa, but it doesn't work. It keeps spilling on some guy, I think.
It's like Squidward syndrome. When you're younger, you're like, man, Squidward's a total jerk, and then you get older, it's like, oh God, I'm the Squidward.
I've become Squidward. What was the?
If you're not a Scrooge, then I think you're fine.
Let's see. The other older one I think I really enjoyed was How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the original Chuck Jones animated half-an-hour special. And a lot of it is just the animation, and I really enjoyed the music to it.
Animation is a super pleasure to the eye.
Yes.
Every so often I see an animation cell from that pop up on eBay, and I want it, but it's like $900.
Oh, jeez.
And then I'm like, yes, no.
It's funny because that one, I remember my mom, she didn't watch much of it, but only recently found out like she didn't understand the story. It's like, what, Christmas just showed up anyways? And it's like, well, yes, but it was kind of hard to explain because I don't think she actually watched the whole thing. And then they made a live action movie, which is almost a guilty pleasure. I like a lot of it, and I know a lot of it's not very good, but
it's my guilty pleasure too.
I enjoy the grump he can be. Is that curmudgeon you side with again?
Both admittedly love the live action Jim Carrey Grinch because I think it's still charming and it's animated in its own special way because like it's Jim Carrey. He's a living cartoon character. It doesn't have the exact same message as the Chuck Jones version, I swear, because it gets the commercialism way more in the live action version. Probably because it's more relevant nowadays, but
yeah.
I don't know. I love them both vastly different aside from having like the same characters by the same names. And then they're making a new Grinch, and it's Benedict Cumberbatch, and I genuinely don't.
Oh, I only recently saw that the Illumination was going to make a Grinch movie. I'm like, oh. And I didn't know who was playing it. And I mentioned I'm like, I don't know. I guess I have mixed feelings on this now, but
I guess they're going with the whole thing from the Chuck Jones version where the Grinch sounded way more, I wouldn't say classy, but like upper class as opposed to the Jim Carrey version where he's like, I like it. But
more baritone, maybe? I might not.
But they like gave him like a Benedict Cumberbatch face somehow. Like I look at him and I
guess I didn't see that. I have to go look now. I saw his like little banner for their Twitter because someone was retweeting like, "Hey, retweet if you have more followers than the Grinch movie."
That's where I saw the face, and I'm like,
had
oh
like
no,
200 or something. This probably has a lot more now. They tend to just skyrocket. I'm sure it's bot related, but yeah.
Well, no, the Emoji Movie Twitter still had like a low amount for the longest time.
I think I did retweet that one when it wasn't as much. Like, oh yeah, I got more followers than them. I'm not going to dignify that movie anymore. It doesn't need any more airtime. Let's see. But okay. I do have one more special, but it's a little more current. But any other specials back in the day maybe you really enjoyed or still enjoyed now?
Love the Rankin Bass specials because, like I said, The Year Without a Santa Claus is probably my favorite, like, stop motion genre. It's probably my favorite stop motion Christmas special. Not counting like Nightmare Before Christmas because it's not a quote unquote Christmas movie. I don't care who says it. It's like Die Hard. It's not really a Christmas movie.
You know, I didn't even think of that one, but I.
That's like the end of the year movie. You can watch it on Halloween. You can watch it.
I think it's a Thanksgiving movie.
Turkey there. The Easter Bunny's there. It's a holiday movie.
It's a holiday movie. You could probably watch it any time of the year, and I there
really
we do.
Could.
It's like, oh, I want to watch Jack Skellington. Yeah, let's go do
that. But like, Rudolph is cool. The weird spin-offs are bizarre. Frosty's cool. The weird spin-offs are bizarre. Some of the like religious ones are pretty good too. I haven't seen like Little Drummer Boy in forever.
I can't. Is that a Disney one or am I thinking of it? I don't even know. There's probably a few versions of that.
That one is that one's also Rankin Bass. It was the same stop motion puppet animation thing.
Gosh,
I'm
sure I watched it, but I can't remember that one. Unfortunately, just because I was watching the Rudolph one, I was like, yeah, the animation is not quite as I remember, especially some of the lip syncing, but
especially with how far we've come.
Well, yeah. So I mean, I probably have too high expectations. Like it was made in the '60s, probably. I don't remember the year now. Actually, not. Wait, is it for? I don't even know. We can look that one up too. It was probably around the same time as Charlie Brown. And I want to say it was the '70s for How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I can't remember now. These are they're older stuff now, and they're just cemented as part of this Christmas tradition and part of the season sort of thing.
1964.
Okay, I'm trying to remember. I remember just. And watching Chuck Jones express, how much he loved that. There was another one he did. I'm trying to remember what it was called. Because now I think of a really other bizarre one that reminds me a little bit of Chuck Jones animation, and I can't remember if it has a different name. It's probably called "'Twas Night Before Christmas," but it's about these mice, and they're in a bell clock tower. I'm not even sure, and it's so old. I don't even know the title to it. I don't know if it's ringing a bell, but like
it is
like the bell's supposed to ring, but the bell's broken because one of the little mice kids did it, but he doesn't tell you till the last moment. And it's like, even a miracle needs a hand. Oh God, I remember the song. I can't think of what that one is though. And at the end, it's it's Twas Night Before Christmas. Santa shows up, and he's got his really red cheeks. Vaguely, I'm piecing pieces together now that I'm thinking of it. Does that sound familiar?
It does. I'm looking it up because, Christ.
Just look up Miracles Need a Hand, you might find it.
The Night Before Christmas. It was Rankin Bass, 1974.
Oh, it was Rankin Bass.
The Night Before Christmas.
Oh, okay. I got the name right. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know, man. I'm trying to remember it. That's like an old, obscure thing. They're like, I don't know, that's stuck in my head. The only reason I think I remember some of it is because when South Park parodied a little bit of it. I think they even
South
sing
Park
that
came
song.
Up. They did. It was the second result.
South Park usually has some interesting ones. I remember, the one year that they made Team America. They were just out of ideas, and that's how we got the Woodland Critter Christmas special.
Yeah. I was literally just thinking, and Christmas in Canada. I actually really loved Christmas in Canada as a special. I like how Wizard of Ozzy it is, despite just being Canadians.
Saddam Hussein.
Freaking Saddam!
I thought that was a funny twist, and I didn't realize, because that's how their show is done. They've done the week before. Hey, they caught Saddam. Oh, okay, let's put it in. It's like the perfect Christmas miracle to put in there.
And freaking, oh my God. South Park had some really good Christmas specials, and they also had good Halloween specials, and a couple of freaking Thanksgiving specials for all intended.
I can only think of the Timmy and his turkey one. Was there another?
There was one that had to do with, like, football game on Thanksgiving. That or, like, the others were trying to watch something that was supposed to air on Thanksgiving, and, like, their parents didn't want
right. Merry Christmas, Charlie Manson. Oh my God.
Yes.
I think like one of Cartman's uncles breaks out of prison. It's right Thanksgiving, I think. His buddy Charlie Manson comes. Oh my God. I'm just thinking of the absurdity now. As a kid, I'm like, oh yeah, this is only like a decade ago when it happened.
And that was back when every single show had to have a Christmas special. Every year, something had a Christmas or holiday special. Every time I think about Christmas specials, I think of all things, the Rugrats. Because they had their Christmas special, and then they had a Hanukkah special, and then they had a Kwanzaa special.
Oh, Kwanzaa. Okay.
I learned what Kwanzaa actually was until Futurama came around and was like
Futurama's
what the heck is Kwanzaa?
Hey, Kwanzaa bot. He's giving out the traditional Kwanzaa present.
What the heck is Kwanzaa?
I've been out for the last 150 years or something. Yeah, I really do enjoy the robotic Santa who sees everybody as evil. Except you, Dr. Zoidberg. This is for you.
Hooray!
Oh, that was hooray! Yeah, that was... they had like 2 or 3 of those. Of course, with their first movie, there was a bit of Christmas in there, too. That was a lot of fun. A more recent one, which I think I really started to enjoy, we were watching on TV and we were laughing so hard at it, was Olive the Other Reindeer.
So, yeah, I like that it's animated like a freaking Parappa the Rapper game.
Yeah, it's that weird 2D, 3D style. Might be
thing.
Well, you can see a lot of them are 3D models especially when they walk around in the 3D world. But yeah, when they're mostly talking to them, they're just this flat tweening as they walk around. Maybe because of guilty pleasure to that one is because Dan Castellaneta plays the disgruntled postman.
Oh my God, I never caught that.
Oh, what? He didn't? That was him? Send a friend a 2-ton gift? I don't mind, I love to lift.
It was one of those, oh man, I recognize this voice kind of things, but I haven't watched it in years.
DJ Diana plays a few other voices in there. Yeah, there's a few other notable voices in there. I can't name them offhand besides Drew Barrymore playing Olive, but it's just kind of a fun little special. I think I actually own it on DVD still.
Watch on Cartoon Network every year, but it hasn't actually been on there in forever. Isn't Diary of a Wimpy Kid or Teen Titans Go? Is just not on there anymore.
Yeah, there's nothing on. Now I'm thinking of obscure Christmas. There's a Christmas special I found out 2 years ago that is pretty decent, and you probably from a source you'd never expect it from. And that is Donkey Kong Country cartoon.
God.
It's the Festival of Lights, and it actually has a little soft spot. I mean, it's not terribly that great looking, but I did enjoy a little bit of Christmas in there with, I think General Clump doesn't have anyone to spend Christmas with, and he finds out, oh God, I don't know if I need to put spoiler in front of what I'm saying here.
Spoiler, Donkey Kong Country, spoiler.
He finds his brother, turns out it's Captain Scurvy, the pirate, and they didn't realize they were long-lost brothers. It's kind of this heartwarming little thing when they figure it out.
It is a trip, but I don't think I ever saw that episode.
That's rather obscure. Now I'm thinking of obscure ones. I remember I'm thinking of like Disney Afternoon cartoons. Like I believe there was one with Tailspin. Oh man, I don't know why I didn't think of that one before. Like Molly wants to see Santa, and like Baloo and Louie pretend that Louie's, I can't even think what Louie's island is called. Probably just Louie's. Pretends it's the North Pole, and Louie is Santa, and everyone else is the elves. And it's actually hurting in on the business, so everybody's trying to get in. And, they're just trying to make Molly happy and have a nice Christmas.
Well, you mentioned this. I realized I haven't seen Tailspin in at least 10 years. I feel like I should pick that up again.
I think it's worth another look. I wanted to watch old stuff. Like, I'm trying to think if Darkwing had one.
I think so, but at the same point, they usually aired them all in such a block that I can't remember what did and what didn't.
I mean, everybody has a special.
Rangers too.
They probably did. I cannot think of one. I'm trying to think of DuckTales. They probably had something.
They had something, and if they didn't, then we're just going to count every time that they had a Christmas Carol thing.
Right. I'm sure everyone had. I'm trying to think of ones that stick out. I mean, Simpsons usually have just like their Halloween, they kind of have a Christmassy, not every year, but again, I haven't watched them in about 4 years, so I've missed a few of them.
recently they haven't, but like their production times have taken so long that I think outside of the Treehouse of Horror specials, they've kind of avoided doing specials.
Yeah, it's pretty much just tradition to have the Halloween one, and of course they always joke about. I think in the more recent ones, like who they have their first. It's usually their first episode, and it's usually in November. It's like, why are they airing it in November? Who's thinking about Halloween? We're already on the Christmas, I think it's a Kane and Kodos joke they put in there, but yeah.
Don't make them as much as they used to. It's like, here's 10 Simpsons episodes a year, and then if they try to do something relevant, it's no longer relevant. Hasn't been relevant in months.
I thought they're still doing the 22 a year, unless that's
changed. Up so much that I can't even tell what's a season anymore.
Oh,
because it's on Fox, so some weeks you just don't have it because there's a football game instead.
Especially, I'm just thinking like some of those, like there was one where Bart shoplifts. That was a pretty Debbie Downer kind of one. And now I'm just.
I appreciate the Downer Christmas specials too, because they usually end in a really heartwarming way, rather than like super saccharine and like, oh, everyone has to give and love each other kind of thing with maybe like a tiny change. The ones where like major things go wrong, I almost feel like they're even more Christmassy. Like the spirit of Christmas pulls through. Like when Bart burns the freaking tree down.
That's right. Yeah, like, will this Christmas ever end? Because it's just. There's so much guilt going on with that, yeah. Or it's like the other joke Homer made. Those would be 5 Christmases I saved versus 8 I ruined. 2 were kind of a toss-up. Which one's that? That's the Funzo one. That's right.
I'm trying to think, was the Mr. Plow one also a Christmas one, or was that just a winter one?
I think that was just a winter one.
So rarely actually have winter episodes that I can never tell if they're like a holiday one or not. I guess because, it's kind of annoying. Having to put people's footprints everywhere they walk just seems extra. But, like, on the topic of Downer Christmas specials, like, I think one of my favorite Christmas specials of all time would probably have to be the Hey Arnold Christmas special, which I think I brought up before. I still don't know if you've seen it, but it has to do with...
I will need to.
It has to... because Arnold lives in the boarding house with all sorts of different characters. One of the boarding house members is Mr. Quinn.
Boarding house? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Like, ugh.
House that his grandparents own, and
yeah, I guess I knew his grandparents in there. Oh well.
The boarding members, and he was actually part of a war. A war ravaged his country, and his daughter was able to get away. He was not, so he hasn't had any contact with her since she was a kid. So the whole thing is essentially Arnold and Gerald trying to get in contact with his daughter for Christmas, to the point where like they've run out of money or anything to have the he's not really a private eye, but the guy looking for the daughter ran out of incentive to give him, but Helga actually gives up her Christmas present to give to him in order to be like, hey, you're going to finish this search and you're going to give them what they want. And there's a whole like reuniting in the end. It's not like the standard like, oh, Santa pulled through and presents for everyone. It's just literally one of the boarding members for the first time, and now she's all grown up. Wow. And it's super touching.
I'm going to watch that.
Hey, I love that special.
You remember Bump in the Night?
It sounds familiar.
Let's see. Jim Cummings plays this little green monster who lives in the closet and likes to eat socks.
Okay, so I very, very, very vaguely remember it.
I think his buddy Rob Paulson played Sir Squishington or something. He's just this blue, I don't even know what he was, monster that lived there. And there was this raggedy doll that also, those were like the 3 main characters. He had a Christmas special. That's what I'm thinking of now. And it was just about him going to North Pole to steal Santa's bag of toys.
Oh, Jesus.
And along the way, there are Christmas carols about getting there. And then, and there's like the elsewhere stories like back at home. For something that'll just probably take too long without actually explaining the entire plot about it. It's just about how in the end, he's like, it actually feels better to give presents than to get them. He's like, well, why does Santa have to do it? Because I could just easily get a gift for every one of you guys, and why has he got to do it?
The adult way of doing things. Who needs Santa when I can buy your presents? Well, about that. That's life.
Yeah, it's life. fun. I remember that being like an ABC morning cartoon.
Only vaguely
Speaking
remember
of
it.
ABC, now I'm thinking of Garfield's Christmas Carol. I think I only one, actually. That one was kind of heartwarming. I'm thinking of Granny in that one mostly.
I watched the Garfield cartoon a lot when I was a kid because, again, it was a Saturday morning cartoon.
Likewise.
I only remember it vaguely. I remember a couple of, like, the longer specials that they had.
There's some weird ones, honestly, but...
I specifically remember, like, John's family reunion episode, but it kind of blends in with that.
I mean, because they go see his family, and, you know... what does he call his brother, and his brother hates when he calls him that? Do you know what I mean? I cannot think of what he would call him.
Worst part is when you remember something and it plays soundlessly in your head, so you see it, but you can't put your finger on it.
Is that what he called him? It's like the word. He's like, "Don't call me John Boy. You did it last Christmas or something." I think that's it, John Boy. That was about all getting together, and there's always that joke comes about how Mom would always make too much food. Like, just give me a piece of pie, and then she lists off like 8 pies that she made.
I love. There's one thing about holiday specials I like that is when it goes kind of raw with like every family has this somewhere, and that's one of those jokes where it's like, even if it's not your mom, you've got an aunt who's like this, you've got a cousin, you've got a grandma, someone does this. It's like, yeah.
But I think a lot of my Christmases haven't always been that big. It's always been the immediate family, maybe a few other people. I can only imagine the bigger families. Like, oh yeah, I got like the Home Alone movie. It's like, God, there's so many people here.
National Lampoon's Christmas, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's a massive family.
I couldn't even keep that list. Presents, like, I gotta get
spending that.
Yeah, that too. I mean, where's this?
My family isn't even really big. It's like me, a couple cousins, and my cousins' kids, and even then. They were like, only buy for the kids. There's too many people to buy for it. It's like, well, we cut off like 5 people, but it's still quite a few people to buy for.
Yeah,
I can't imagine people with like 10 kids running around and like 6 parents and then the parents' and for every get-together as a family reunion. Oh my goodness. That's when it takes hours to unwrap your presents.
It's like, oh, who's that from? Oh, it's from, yeah. And I'm sure there's always somebody recording every present that and I don't think that footage is seen ever again.
So a camcorder, or at least like a tiny digital camera, recording every Christmas for 20 years, and I never saw the footage played again. I did actually watch with his parents, of course, some of Bushando's like childhood Christmases, because they were just having a family like movie night. I swear that his family is one of the only ones I've ever seen actually go back and watch old family footage. There's something about watching like 20-year-old family footage of someone who's just sitting next to you. Especially when it's like, oh, I used to have that too, that's cool! N64, look, Pokemon,
yes. Ah, gnarly.
Look, footy pajamas.
Yes, the footy pajamas.
And everyone wears Santa hats.
Yes.
Admittedly, I've become one of the people who records some stuff on Christmas, but it's usually just the funny things. Did Bushando's brother playing a tin whistle with his nose on Christmas.
Oh.
So that's probably the only thing I got from last Christmas.
You should put that on Twitter.
Put it on Facebook. I don't think I put it on Twitter. I might for this Christmas because it's the song of his family, quote unquote, meaning he just kind of made up a tune and
now we sing it every year.
Need a remix for this year, so I might post both. Just remix it. YouTube poop that nonsense.
Geez. Oh my god! Yeah, just put.
On the topic of guilty pleasure specials, this also counts for the whole show. The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog Christmas special.
I know I've seen them, but I can't even remember.
Back from like the early 90s. I first saw it on like Toon Disney in like 2002 or something like that.
I think I watched them when they were quote unquote new, but that was back on Fox Kids.
I heard of it back when it was still new, but I was like, I don't know what a Sonic is.
It probably wasn't new. It was probably canceled at that point, but that's where I saw it. But anyways.
But new back then were just like, anime coming out.
Yeah, it's the big new thing, and like, well, that's not what I was trying to watch, but okay.
I remember like the influx of that starting because when I was like young, it was like the ABC Family, not ABC Family, ABC Saturday Morning with like
After these messages.
you could see like the Aladdin animated series. There was Pepper Ann, there was Recess, there was all of that.
Oh yeah, they all kind of had their. I mean, I remember. Gosh, now I remember Doug's Christmas special from mostly because I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's this ongoing joke that I think Doug's dad was trying to tell him about the birds and the bees, and they would never get to it. And then and then in the Christmas special of all things, they actually talked about it. It's like less than a minute, they're like, oh, I already knew about this, Dad. School taught me. Oh, okay. And I was like, wow, that joke happened. And I wonder if because it was a little more mature, because it was like prime time when it came on. I don't know.
Wasn't there like the second Doug series?
That's what I'm thinking of that one. I didn't. It's funny because I didn't know about the Doug series because I didn't grow up with Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, and then I guess Disney bought it or something.
Bought the rights. I don't remember if it was the movie or the show of the Disney's Doug. But wasn't there a Christmas special where like Pork Chop was going to be put down for biting?
I would have to say that's the original series, because the one I know they did for the new one was about their baby brother being born. It was that one. They named him Dirt Bike.
Oh my God, I think I've heard about that.
And that was a joke because, Doug's trying to write a letter to Santa because this is what he wants for Christmas, but he doesn't want to be embarrassed because people know he writes a letter to Santa. I think that's how the story goes. And then he disguises it, he wrote down Dirt Bike, like, oh, this is just, a list of names I was thinking for the baby. And I think the mother took it to heart and named him Dirt Bike for that reason. Oh, that's so silly when I say it out loud. I have to watch that again to see, like, is that right? Because I know as Disney continued on One Saturday Morning with Doug, the baby was there and it was named Dirt Bike. So
child is either going to be praised or brutally bullied when they get older.
You don't think about that. It's like, oh yeah, kid's named Dirt Bike. Yeah, I got it. Move on. We've accepted this.
I would totally watch a spin-off of Dirt Bike just called Dirt Bike. Like his brother, Doug.
Dirt Bike.
Disney's Dirt Bike.
Yeah, I think the one you mentioned about Pork Chop being put down, that sounds familiar. That was before I watched the show, I guess.
I'm looking it up now. Apparently, it's last full-length episode of the Nickelodeon one.
Wow. then I don't know. I wonder if there was a hiatus of like a year or so before Disney's Doug happened.
Oh, let me see. Disney's Doug starts when? The acquisition started in 96. The Nickelodeon one ran until 94.
Acquisition. That seems weird because I don't know if Disney bought any other Nickelodeon things, but like Doug? What?
Not Doug, but if I remember right, it was originally pitched to Disney.
And Nickelodeon picked it up, probably. Seems like a lot of cartoons like that. Yeah, Disney didn't want it, so we're going to go to you guys. Kind of like how Adventure Time got picked up by Cartoon Network and not Nickelodeon.
It was like, nah.
Nah, we don't want a good cartoon. Although I don't.
We don't want money.
I got a lot of feelings about Adventure Time, though. Well, that's like. Now I'm thinking of Gravity Falls. I'm trying to think if they had a Christmassy. They had a Halloween and summer special, but that and Kingdom Hearts. I just don't know why Disney doesn't advertise more of that. I mean, that's just money. It's like I'd buy stuff from that.
Like in Epcot, the Donald and Goofy like mascots actually wore their Kingdom Hearts outfits for a day.
Yeah, I remember actually being at Disneyland like a year ago. They had like have those Disney pins everywhere. I saw Mickey wearing the Organization 13 hoodie. It's like that's the first time I see anything Disney related trying to sell something for that. I don't know why they don't do more. I mean, it's money. Here, take my money. I want that.
Whatchamacallit? There was like a pilot supposed to be made about like a art show for Disney, but it just didn't happen. I feel like they're essentially throwing out money by not making that a thing.
Kingdom Hearts? Really, an animated show? That sounds like Don't do it. It's gonna take too long.
It would be like the whole Attack on Titan thing, but worse, where like they started animating it before anything was actually done, so it just slowly happened.
It's almost like how Pokemon goes. Like, I think they try to do it alongside the games, but everybody has different schedules, so things don't work out that way. So we get the Orange Islands instead of
Way
Johto.
faster.
And then it's like, God, we're already in Johto, and they're still on the Orange Islands. Pick up the pace, guys.
We had Indigo, and then we needed Orange Islands. Then Johto happened. In the middle of Johto, we got like Ruby and Sapphire, and then we got Diamond and Pearl, and it's just gonna keep happening.
I don't know. I stopped watching halfway into Johto because it was the same story over and over. It's like, you can do it, Cyndaquil. I knew you could. And this is the whole episode against Skarmory. You know, that's like the last one I remember. I really enjoyed the first one. Like, oh, good, Totodile, that's awesome, you know, and and then like anything else, he just gets them. Like, oh, here, have Chikorita. Wait, did he get Chikorita?
Pokemon Life was Totodile sounding like a duck.
Wait, does he sound like? No, wait, what? Which that's what I miss about the show is I would know how to pronounce the names.
Nah, Sun and Moon is pretty good. I recommend that.
It looks like fun. I need to watch it, but I'm too busy playing Ultra Sun right now. What are we talking about? We're talking about Doug before we got here. And Pork Chop.
We came from Doug from Christmas. You ever heard the Pokemon Christmas album?
Sounds right, but I don't know what's on it. I think I remember seeing Kids WV right after To Be a Master, maybe.
Really terrible.
Oh.
You can hear it on YouTube. It's one of those things where it's so aggressively like 90s anime.
That sounds like anime that I still see on TV if I ever watch TV.
Okay, it's aggressively 90s dubbed anime.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah. I don't know. I need to probably watch more anime, but
Not missing much.
Yeah, and of course some people are like, oh, you're missing the best stuff. It's like Adventure Time. I just hear a lot. I mean, I've watched the first 2 seasons. I need to watch more because I guess it's going to end probably next year. Some more of the stories. But I've heard people who really don't like it because the characters are just so... They don't care about anything. That just things just happen. I can see that with Jake a few, you know. But
that's my problem with current like Steven Universe too. Is it just gets to a point where the characters only care when like the plot needs them to. Other times they don't care, and I'm like, come on.
Oh right, and I just realized there was a Steven Universe sort of Christmas special. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
It was with Steven being born.
I remember, and then they kidnapped him.
Yeah, they kidnapped him. Yeah. Well, Gems don't know any better, so... Yeah. Sometimes with that show, I'm
your
like...
baby!
Yeah.
They almost killed him!
I know, I mean, they say it, you know, so innocently, but, you know... If you didn't know, this is really terrible.
We took your baby. What? But no, now that I'm thinking about it, most shows nowadays don't have like any holiday specials. I'm guessing because it's way more like ambiguous and nothing really has any religious undertones, which is fine. You really don't have to confine to like a Christmas special or anything, but it's always fun to have like the whole giving presents thing. I've noticed a lot more birthday episodes, so I wonder if they're filling the void. Like Steven had a birthday episode in Universe. I feel like I'm missing another birthday episode. I know there was one in Clarence. Adventure Time, but I don't know if they could, considering Finwish's kind of found.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the lore of Adventure Time, so I got to get caught up on that. I actually just caught up with Steven today, and yeah, like the thing about they only care when the plot wants it. It's like, some things kind of made me angry. Like, oh, this doesn't progress the plot, and there's not, and their characters not talking to each other. I'm like, I don't need this right now.
Those are 5 episodes we're going to get until like next year. And I'm like, well, nothing happened.
Something, yeah. I mean, some of them I don't mind. I'm trying to think of some older ones. They're like, nothing happened, but as long as it was enjoyable, and I'd say the most recent round wasn't as enjoyable.
Yeah, I put it on in the background. Yeah. It was okay.
Actually, now I'm thinking of MLP, because I think I remember their Hearthwarming episode, which was where Applejack goes has Christmas with the Pie Family. That was a lot of fun. I remember that. Have you seen that one?
That one forever ago, because that aired in like 2013 or something like that.
That sounds about, well, I want to say it was only 3 years, but time is vastly going too fast, so it's probably that long ago. I thought it was a lot of fun to see. It was more about seeing the personalities work off each other, but it was a lot of fun just seeing how they lived.
I used to watch the like every MLP episode with this one kid I babysat. She freaking loved it, and she actually got the channel. So that was one of the ones I watched with her, and it was actually like Christmas time when it aired, so that was pretty awesome. Can't really think of any other like Christmas episodes that came out recently. Now that I'm thinking about it, most of the more recent examples I have are like adult entertainment. Like I know Family Guy has had a couple of Christmas ones. American Dad has had some Christmas ones. South Park, of course. They usually have a Christmas one at least every other season.
Yeah.
Not counting The Simpsons because they've kind of gone all over the place in recent years, and I haven't caught up with them.
Rick and Morty didn't do
Christmas
one,
episode.
Or did they? No.
I don't think Rick and Morty is.
I'm thinking of, maybe it's Thanksgiving when the Pancreas Park. I can't even think of the name of the. There's a Pirates of the Pancreas. I can't even think of. You know what I'm talking about?
It's something Pancreas. I don't think Rick and Morty's done a Christmas one, but like they also always air the seasons in like the summer, like late summer.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense not to see one, but I was thinking that seemed. I want to say that one happened at Christmas. Maybe it was Thanksgiving. It probably was Thanksgiving.
Like I noticed that some years like South Park airs like late winter and then like early fall, and sometimes it's like summer and winter and. Sure, where they're gonna air it.
I'm just thinking back to TJF days. I'm pretty sure Boy Meets World and Family Matters had their Christmas specials. I know they did.
Full House had a Christmas special. Which
they probably had several.
Only had several because that show went on for ages.
Yeah, and I watched it because I don't know, it was there. So
it was on at night.
It was that weird prime time. Like cartoons ended, and then there was that show, and then maybe Simpsons later. I remember at the time my parents wouldn't let me watch The Simpsons. And for good reason, but I think now it's like, yeah, it's so tame.
9, but at the time it was like, oh, there's a rambunctious boy and they swear sometimes. EVPG is essentially the new G. There is the SpongeBob Christmas specials, and I think they're actually coming out with another new one.
I do remember the stop motion one. That one was a bit of fun. I didn't grow up with SpongeBob. I really enjoyed the "Don't Be a Jerk, It's Christmas" song.
I like the stop motion ones particularly because anything stop motion in Christmas is so obviously referencing Rankin Bass, and it's just funny to me. But I like their original Christmas special more with the freaking Santa's coming tonight, Santa's coming tonight, and he never comes. Then when he actually comes, he's live action and he's just crazy and he's underwater for some reason.
I don't know that. I didn't know that one. That sounds crazy. He doesn't show up. Like what?
He doesn't show up until like the very end.
He's live action.
Yeah, Squidward's like giving away all his stuff, then it starts to snow, and then there's Santa, and everyone's like, Santa! And he's like, oh, ho, ho! And he starts like literally rotating his upper body and like shaking his head, and his wig is almost about to come off. He's like, oh, ho, ho, ho. Like, oh my god, Santa, relax. With finger guns like, oh, and he just goes off. I'm like, oh my god, okay, Santa Claus. You go have fun. Very, like, I wouldn't say like how an adult comedy would do it, but it's definitely a comedy kind of way of doing it. Almost like akin to how Elf is very, in a goofy way. I really like the first SpongeBob Christmas. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I heard that they're making another Christmas special this year, but I could be wrong. No, they're making another stop motion episode though. That or it's 3D.
I love it, but it's like, God, there's so much work involved.
Just Leica for like keeping it alive.
Yeah, like that joke they do at the end of the box trolls.
Yeah, I think that's the whole like, and I move my hand and it takes someone like 30 hours to do it. It's like,
I've got to have a day job or something.
As I said, Christmas and stop motion go together like peanut butter and jelly, and it's really odd that that's the case. Thanks, Nightmare Before Christmas, of all freaking things.
I guess that only helped it. I mean, yeah, you said it's just a holiday movie, but yeah, Halloween and Christmas really when you hear about it.
Twice this month.
I love his misunderstanding of Santa's name, calling him a Sandy Claus. It's just like, that's the perfect interpretation he could have had of that.
I really like, and I don't usually really give props in The Nightmare Before Christmas because it's a movie that has a lot of things wrong with it, but I like how in the end Jack realizes, oh god, I screwed up. I need to go fix things instead of being like,
My God.
well,
Take responsibility.
I need to go save Santa. That he does.
It's just kind of the weird mashup of things that is probably more commonplace now with crossovers, and it don't always work, like Willy Wonka and Tom and Jerry. But
oh god, no. I forgot about that for a while, and then you brought it up.
I'm sorry.
Now that's all.
I actually haven't seen the whole thing. I've only seen reviews of it. It's like, that's all I need to see of this. I really had no other way I was going to watch it. I wasn't going to.
TV at one point. I didn't actually like watch it all the way through. I got in there like maybe 20 minutes in, watched 5 minutes, and I was like, I can't do this.
If you like Willy Wonka, you're not gonna like it. It says Tom and Jerry in it. If you like Tom and Jerry, you're not gonna like it. It's Willy Wonka.
If you like animation, you're not gonna like it because we don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. We lost a bet and we made a movie.
These studios did this drunk.
Pretty much. And it's like, there's no writing involved. We're just going to copy and paste everything.
So bad. And everyone goes like cross-eyed all the time.
Look at it, it's nightmare fuel, but there's some questionable things. You're like, how did they decide that was okay?
I don't get it. I mean, God forbid we get like... Oh god, I just thought of like Tom and Jerry meets A Christmas Story. Going to happen?
Well, I guess since we're talking about a Christmas story, or specials, what's your thoughts on The Christmas Story?
I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, but I never really liked it because I almost feel like it's mean-spirited. Maybe I have a bit of like discomfort because I never really had good family Christmases, but it kind of just rings the wrong tune for me.
Well, I actually never seen the whole thing, but I don't like it. Everybody talks about it, though. It's just, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, I don't want to watch it. I have no interest in this. And the parts I've seen, like, I don't know what it's known for. All I ever see is the leg that's a lamp. And I think that's the one where you get your tongue stuck to a flagpole, but...
Yeah, that part always just gives me the creepy crawlies. No, I don't like that.
Yeah, and I don't care for it. I guess we're on the same page here.
Yeah, I've never watched the whole thing like sequentially, but because of that 24-hour Christmas marathon, someone is always.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to do that. I'm glad I don't have cable for this reason.
Basic too, because I've always seen it pop on in like every family house, but like half of my family doesn't have real cable, so I've always seen I've seen the entire movie of like 10-20 minute marks, and I don't care for it. There's never been a part that doesn't make me feel like I just dislike the characters.
True. Yeah, you know what the worst thing is? They made a sequel out of that movie.
Of course they did.
And well, mostly because it's Nostalgia Critic, do I know that. I'm like, oh, they did? Wow, this looks awful. Why did we do this?
Everything needs a sequel. Everything.
A Christmas Story. No, sir,
Didn't
I don't
you learn
like
that when I told you there was a sequel to Year Without a Santa Claus? Everything needs a sequel.
Yeah.
A revival.
Christmas 2! Which probably
Don't
does exist.
say that.
Well, there's also the day
before.
before.
But I think it was, like, supposed to be a thing.
I think there's sequels, or I should say sequels. I think there are prequels, like the day before, the night before Christmas. I remember somebody was pitching that. It's back in the Newgrounds days. So like, I want to animate this thing, and someone's throwing this idea around like, I don't know. It probably exists.
If we're going to count Newgrounds Flash animations, then yes, everything on the planet has a sequel.
No, yeah. Let's
it's probably sprite-based.
Oh. I mean, my brother and I, we made a Christmas special on there back in 2003. And...
one back in, like, 2004, 2005.
Oh, when we were doing the Perfect Kirby series, we made one called Christmas Eve. And it was after we saw this play in town about a politically correct Christmas that we're like, hey, we jokingly said, like, hey, we could make a stupid Christmas little special with Kirby and Nintendo characters, and so we did.
I never actually posted to Newgrounds, but I was part of a Clock Crew knockoff.
Ah, the clocks and the locks. And...
I was part of the R3R, the Reverse Republic, which is exactly what it sounds like. Okay. Everyone was blank and then blank, so like instead of like strawberry clock, you were clock strawberry. Instead of like
oh wow, it was
orange lock, you were lock orange.
Oh wow.
Originally, it was just a parody. Like everyone started essentially making parodies of well-known Clock Crew and Lock Legion stuff. But then it ended up with people who were actually talented making things with these stupid, like, nonsense characters we made. In fact, most people actually had, like, characters, or rather themes, that weren't used before. Like, one of my friends from there was, like, Clock Canada Clock, or anything like that. So, like, I did some, like, little things in that, like some art assets and the like, but I never actually made anything, and I'm kind of thankful I didn't.
I don't know. I think our special might still hold up. Maybe I'll link it in the description. I think it's a fun little story. It's just about, you know, Kirby being a grump because everybody's just doing it to get a present. He has a dream and he meets Santa, and he's like, why are you so bummed out? And by the way, this whole thing rhymes.
Oh, Christ.
It's like, I don't think it's more than 3 minutes. And
mentioning it, I think I watched that back when I did go through your whole Perfect Kirby series back when I was a kid.
I wasn't sure if you were aware of any of this stuff.
I knew of you in the Newgrounds days. I knew of everything in the Newgrounds days.
Ooh.
Remember right, I found your Perfect Kirby stuff after I had found some weird legendary frog thing, and yours was in like the related.
Oh, yeah, back in the day, Joey and I and Richie would talk, and we bounce stuff off. We tend to cameo once in a while in their little videos.
And I don't remember if it was Super Smash Flash. I saw your stuff in there too.
Oh, that sounds about right. Yeah, that was mostly Richie at that point. I did voice Pikachu. I think that was Super Nintendo. Wait, what was it called? I can't even know. It's funny because I see a lot of the stuff from there being put on YouTube, and I don't try to take it down. It's like, that's fine.
Years too. Most of those uploads are from like the beginning of YouTube. I noticed. Remember, I refound a lot of those things when YouTube was like new, and I never even questioned it. But probably most of those accounts are dead at this point. The videos are probably just up because YouTube doesn't give a crap.
No one's copyright claiming them. Leave it alone.
Monetizing these things, so they're just there.
Yeah.
They're just hanging out. I know about you in the YouTube time.
YouTube. Yeah,
I watched every Nintendo-related thing that there was for the longest time.
Yeah.
I was, on the verge of being blammed.
I wonder if they probably still blam stuff.
They do. I think they're still.
I don't go there as often as I probably should because that was a lot of the early internet days for us, and I still support them, but I just don't do it enough. I follow most of them on Twitter, and I see the stuff they put there.
Hey, like the creators I actually care to see usually post their stuff to YouTube anyway, so that's where I end up watching it. I feel bad saying that because I spent like hundreds of hours on Newgrounds as a kid. I would get out of school and go straight on to Newgrounds, but now I just can't bring myself to go there.
Yeah, I find that too. I mean, that's where, that was YouTube before YouTube. That's where you see a lot of different things and essentially for free.
Flash Animations reminds me of something. Last year, I remade a Christmas comic.
Oh.
I had made back in like 2007, 2008. Speaking of Flash Animation, might see me retweet every so often. I can give you the link to put his stuff in the description as well. He animated the entirety of that Christmas comic. So I guess in some kind of almost half-assed backwards way, my webcomic has a Christmas special. Because it's animated.
We gotta find that now.
Still has it. I might have it on my old external hard drive somewhere, but it might even still have a watermark on it because I used one of those fucking converters.
Yeah. Well, that's all you really had back when.
I know it still exists. Maybe it's even in my Dropbox. I don't know, but
You'll have to upload that.
I'll see.
Forgive the watermark. It was different times.
Well, because I didn't know about any like converters. This was before like Newgrounds had their own like
Yeah, now do it. Yeah, it was. You had to figure it out. You just Google it. Like, oh, okay, let's use this. Oh, viruses. No, but
that you could download had a watermark. Anything that was like free on the web had like a limit.
Yeah.
If you found something with the watermark that wasn't too obnoxious, you just used it. Actual like MP4 output or whatever, or MOV or whatever would actually be supported back then was next to impossible if you didn't want to shell out like an actual converter for Flash. I almost feel like Adobe might have done something like that in Flash's dying days, but
yeah,
or not even Adobe, freaking
Macromedia.
Yeah, Macromedia. But
there's an name we don't hear anymore.
I had Flash 8. I have Flash 8. Who am I kidding? But Flash 8 back when I wanted to do animations, and then all I ended up doing was like profile, like because Shazier allowed that. You could use like a Flash file as your profile, kind of like how DeviantArt has their own little like profile images. So everyone just made like even a Flash animation with like a looping song. So everyone was like MySpace, where a song would start up when you went on your profile. That was pretty much.
Yeah, I never used MySpace. That was just far beyond me. That's how that worked.
I never actually used MySpace, but like I had friends who did. So from what I understand, then yes. And you could like embed things. I had a Gaia online account when I was a teenager, and you could like force YouTube videos to autoplay so you could have music. But even some like Tumblr blogs have like autoplaying music, and that's when I keep it because I hate it so much. But it was a different time, and everyone thought that was cool. That's why I had Flash 8. Freaking Christmas specials were even on the internet. I have one. That's really funny to me. I never thought about that until now.
Yeah, I guess I do. I guess I do as well. I guess I knew what I was doing, or did I? I don't even know.
Your own Christmas special. Everybody.
Everybody gets one.
Maybe I'll make another Christmas comic so I could just keep a yearly Christmas special going. I made it, but it's already the 4th, and I don't have that much time in my life.
I was gonna say, yeah, I don't know how much time you have, but
maybe next year. Maybe next year I'll try.
Maybe I'll do it in February when I have time.
February, so it'll be done by December 2018. Oh, then I would have to push it till December 2019 because I know that's how my luck actually is. Oh God.
Oh man, it's 2018 next year. No, man, that was a lot.
Say anyway, do you have anything else to talk about? Because I think I exhausted all my Christmas special knowledge.
I thought of the ones I remember most, the guilty pleasures, the obscure ones. Is Frozen a Christmas special?
Unless we're counting like that 21-minute disaster in front of Coco, from what I heard is actually Christmas. But I'm trying to make a vow not to see that.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I don't mind seeing it, but I only hear hate, so like I don't know.
It's mainly a musical, and it focuses on Olaf, and I don't really like Olaf, so I think I'm gonna hold off.
I'm gonna. He was all right. I know it's really mixed opinion on Frozen. I mean, I enjoy Let It Go too much, and that's probably why I give it slack.
Let It Go. I guess I just feel like Olaf has the Disney mascot syndrome of we made Genie once and he was great, so let's try to do that again.
Comic relief who's not really necessary. Yeah. Hey, they're not making a Santa Claus 4.
I was 3 last night, and you don't know how thankful I am that we're not getting a Santa Claus 4.
Oh, I've seen very little of the first one, and
I watched the first one yesterday. It's pretty okay. It's definitely like
it probably worked as its own one-off, and then they made sequels. But yeah,
I never watched the Santa Claus one as a kid. But like it's definitely very much so like a 90s Disney live-action theatrical film. One, for some reason, they went straight from the first to the third. And from what I saw of the third, it was garbage. I can think of when I see that is that one image of it saying Devil May Cry 2. That's the only thing I can think of when I saw it and I was like, oh, Devil May Cry 2 is on.
That's got to be last of the specials, right? I think we exhausted.
I can't think of anything else.
There's probably other really obscure ones and really awful ones.
Definitely. There's a whole like Hallmark genre we didn't touch, but thank God. There's only so saccharine I can do. There's
There's not
only
enough
so much overworked woman needs to find perfect man on Christmas thing that I can handle.
time.
So all of them are. Every single one of them.
And how many times can we just rework Christmas Carol into something?
I actually looked up its Wikipedia page after I pitched this topic idea to you.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many adaptations. It could basically make its own article. I want to actually look at the TV tropes page for A Christmas Carol because I can only imagine the references. I can only imagine it.
Hey, I just realized. Do you ever think of the Ghost of Christmas Present as Santa Claus?
Sir, he's a fat, jolly guy with a beard.
Pretty much. And he's having... Yeah. And he's not a Grim Reaper. I'm trying to think how we interpret the first one now. A child?
I've seen as a child. I actually watched the Jim Carrey Disney CGI one.
That's right. I didn't watch that. That looked a little too scary, honestly.
But it was very uncanny valley. I couldn't sit through like the entire thing without looking away for a little bit.
I remember seeing some clip with bones, and it's like, God, a skeleton! That's a little too scary. I don't frighten you.
I will say that like Christmas Present dies, and like he laughs as he's dying.
That's probably what I'm thinking of, and like that's a little messed up.
He turns into Christmas Future, and I was like, Jesus Christ, okay. We're just essentially going into the Die Hard territory of this is technically Christmas, but not really.
Oh, yeah, Die Hard. That's a Christmas movie.
It is technically, but everyone is like, Die Hard's my favorite Christmas movie. I'm like, you're quirky. You sure are.
Yippee-ki-yay. That's probably good. That's a lot of Christmas to put in a podcast.
It's just through the whole time as if it's going to tell me like more Christmas specials. Like, I know there's a Super Mario Super Show one. I talked about the Sonic one. I talked about all like the Nicktoons ones I could actually remember. We had the ABC Saturday mornings. If it was the 80s or the early 90s or even the 70s, I think it was like in your contract to have a Christmas special that would sell toys for the Christmas season.
A lot of Christmas. I can't think of any more now. It's just too much.
I think my brain is Christmased out. Speak of the devil, Santa Claus 3 is apparently on ABC Family right now.
Oh joy.
I'm not watching it.
No.